All right, guys, I'm just cold chilling here. I did a video earlier about A Few Good Men, and I'm going to add to it a little bit, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation on the earlier video and see what you think in the comment section below on this one. So this is from A Few Good Men. But I had asked in the other video, if you haven't seen it yet, do you think that Colonel Jessup, that they're writing him in as an anti-Semitic in A Few Good Men, because Colonel Jessup, never says really anything to Lieutenant Weinberg through the whole movie. He shakes his hand at the beginning when they first meet, but never really says anything to him. He basically just talks to Joanne and Lieutenant Caffey. Until the courtroom scene at the end when he goes, "Who's going to defend that wall? You, Caffey? You, Lieutenant Weinberg?" And the way he says Weinberg, it's almost like Kevin Pollak was on the Rich Eisen show. That's the actor who plays Weinberg. And he said people are always coming up to him saying, "Do you think Jessup is an anti-Semitic?" Because he says, "You, Lieutenant Weinberg," just spits that Jewish name out. And so that's what Kevin Pollak was saying, that everybody thinks he's Jewish. I think that Colonel Jessup is just a bully. And I'm going to explain why right now. And I think that Jessup is the bully and Weinberg is the bullied person. They're the antagonist and the protagonist and the antagonist. A lot of people think that Lieutenant Caffey is somehow the protagonist. But I don't really believe that. I think Lieutenant Caffey is sort of kind of like Jessup in a more subtle way, because he's always doing deals. You're going to spend hours on paperwork because your your serviceman thought, or your airman confused a bag of oregano with marijuana. So he does a deal and bullies this guy into doing, he bullies other lawyers subtly into making plea deals. So I think that Jessup and Caffey are similar to each other. It's just Caffey's a little more subtle about it. I think they're both along the lines of bullies. He is an athlete, Caffey is. Weinberg, on the other hand, is this little 5'5" Jewish guy. And I don't care that he's Jewish. I just mean that because he is Jewish and because he has the name Weinberg, he probably got bullied a lot when he was a kid. And he's only like 5'5". He don't have a lot of muscle. He's a little skinny guy. He's a little scrawny dude. So he probably got beat up a lot on the playground. And you think, well, how do you know that? Because when he's talking to Joanne in the courtroom when they first start the hearing or the trial, she goes, "Why do you hate them so much?" "Because they picked on a guy. They picked on an innocent guy. He couldn't run very fast. So they killed him." But when he says he couldn't run very fast, so they killed him. I think that Weinberg was bullied when he was a kid. Probably got beat up a lot. Probably had to run from bullies. And so Weinberg is this bullied guy that's all of a sudden finding himself in a courtroom facing Jessup, who is a bully. And Jessup, I think, as a bully, recognizes that this little 5'5" scrawny Weinberg guy, he could probably pick on him on the schoolyard. So that's why he spits out, "You, Lieutenant Weinberg." What he's really saying is, "You little skinny, scrawny punk rat looking, you little, come on, boy, you want some of this?" I think that's really what Jessup's saying. I don't think it's that he's so anti-Semitic. I think he's just a fucking bully. But then, of course, Caffey is a bully as well, but a little bit more subtle about it. I think Joanne is overpowering. And I think that Weinberg is kind of out of his league in this defense. I mean, you got Joanne, who's kind of bullying both of them, like, I'm the commander, so I'm in charge of it. I outrank you, so I'm going to do this. I think that Caffey, like I've already explained, bullies other lawyers. But here's Weinberg. He's kind of like the follower, the guy that just kind of follows around and does what he's got to do to get it done. Another thing I noticed that Jessup is a bully. Remember, he bullies Markinson at the beginning when he says, "If you think that I've come up in ranks faster than you and I've been more successful than you," or whatever he says, he goes, "and if that's any measure of embarrassment for you, I don't give a shit. You know, and da da da. You don't ever question my orders in front of another man, an officer. You know, he's a bully. The guy's a freaking bully. But then remember, he also starts bullying. He starts sexually harassing Joanne, and he goes, "I noticed, Danny, she outranks you. You know, he's like a shit stirrer. You know." And that's why he says, "You, Lieutenant Weinberg," he's trying to stir some shit. That's what I think. I want to know what you guys think of my assessment of the Few Good Men characters. This isn't going to be a trend. I just thought about it today because I saw the Kevin Pollak interview on Rich Eisen, and I started thinking about that. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below.